Squatters are invading American homes. Homeowners are struggling to kick them out. In fact, some are even arrested for doing so. Is this even legal? Welcome to America Uncovered. I'm Chris Chappell. Finding affordable houses these days can be a struggle, but never fear, there is a solution. If you can't afford a house, you can always just seize one you don't own and become a squatter. That's right, squatters seizing houses is causing a nationwide homeowner nightmare, and it's not pretty.
This woman is trying to get into the house, but her access is being blocked, and it's her own home.
Hey! Paul Callan says he was away caring for his sick wife when he swung by his vacant rental house. He discovered it was no longer vacant. He says at least 3 people are now living here illegally.
The horror stories are endless. This woman claims squatters sold her stuff and turned her home into a drug den and left quite the mess. Some squatters are hosting non-stop parties, and even worse, I wasn't invited. These monsters need to be stopped. They're also changing house locks while the owners are away. But it gets even crazier. Some squatters are subletting space without permission. Just when I didn't think the squatters could get any worse, they become landlords. They're also demanding ransoms or turning homes into illegal strip clubs. I'd really hate to be the property owner who had to clean up after that. The problem is everywhere. Not even multi-million-dollar homes are safe. But don't worry, this is just a property issue. It's not like squatters are carrying anything dangerous or hurting anybody, right? Capitalism is the real monster here, not these murderers, innocent visionaries. What's really crazy is the fact that authorities often aren't doing enough to stop them. It's gotten to the point that some homeowners are paying squatters to leave because the police couldn't help. Some are even getting arrested for trying to kick out the squatters. One New York woman confronted the squatters occupying her late parents' home and ended up in handcuffs.
The man who claims to be the one actually leasing the house shows up.
Call the police again.
With the other guy, police took off the property.
Do you see this? This guy just literally broke down my door.
So Adele, you're getting arrested right now?
I'm being arrested.
For what?
For being in my own home.
Arrested for unlawful eviction. She changed the locks on a man who claims he lives there.
So how can something like this happen? I'll tell you after the break. Welcome back. Squatters are seizing homes that they don't own and aren't renting. They're staying put even after owners call the police. How? Well, they're appealing to squatters' rights. It's a term that's become very popular recently, especially after this Venezuelan TikTok influencer instructed migrants on how to squat in houses. Even worse, he clearly stole porcelain from the toilets and used it to make his teeth. Of course, he was just arrested. And even worse, he's wrong. Technically, there's no such thing as squatters' rights. A more accurate term, legally speaking, would be adverse possession. Adverse possession is a legal principle. It permits someone to take ownership of something, such as real estate, by possessing it or living in it for a set amount of time. Adverse possession can be a real headache for homeowners, but according to an attorney at the Pacific Legal Foundation, the squatting we are seeing today on TikTok and in big cities is not the same as adverse possession within the meaning of American history and tradition. That's because adverse possession traditionally involves property that appears to be abandoned. Traditional adverse possession goes all the way back to ancient Rome, where the point was to keep land productive even if the previous owner disappeared. The same was true in the United States. Functionally, what this meant was that if a frontier American left his house to go hunting and was, say, killed by a bear in the forest, another frontier American could take control of his house and land and would eventually be seen as the legal owner. Which makes sense since the previous owner was, gone without a trace. In the US, the adverse possessor had to openly possess the property and often had to begin paying the property taxes, and at the end of several years of adverse possession, the possessor had to go to court to get court approval for this new ownership of the property. Back then, this kind of thing happened all the time. But what we're seeing now is not that. The squatters we're seeing today aren't really adverse possessors, but trespassers, fraudsters, and tenants who aren't paying rent. chances are they'd fail adverse possession claims in court, since they're the ones causing all the adversity in the possession. The problem is that even though squatters don't have legal rights to live on the properties they're squatting in, local laws make it hard to actually kick them out. According to City Journal, in more than 2/3 of states, for instance, once individuals who've taken up residence claim that they are the property's legitimate occupants, owners must file an eviction notice which gives the squatters 30 days or more to stay put. They don't even necessarily have to produce proof, since that's for the courts to sort out. So they're giving them 30 free days of shelter based entirely on, just trust me, bro. New York, especially, is notoriously generous towards squatters. Under New York state law, squatters are classified as tenants and receive temporary rights as such after living in a property for a period of 30 days. As a conscientious citizen, I find this outrageous. But as a New Yorker, it's given me some ideas. The problem is the legal eviction process can take years. According to Newsweek, in New York, before the process ends, owners cannot change the locks on the squatters or remove their belongings. If someone claims to be a tenant, they cannot be arrested for trespassing. On top of that, New York still has ridiculous COVID eviction restrictions, which allows tenants to stay for years without paying rent. There are clearly a lot of loopholes that squatters are exploiting. That's why many state and local officials are pushing to make it easier to remove squatters without having to wait for eviction proceedings. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has done just that. And other states are moving in that direction, such as New Jersey, Georgia, and New York. Oh man, there goes my plan. Though whether New York's new law will make much of a difference remains to be seen. It basically just changes the time it takes for squatters to be considered tenants from 30 days to 45 days. Let's just hope I manage to keep squatters out of this New York studio long enough to hold on to it. Have you ever heard of Chesterton's fence? It's the idea that maybe fences, and dare I say property rights, have a purpose, and you shouldn't go tearing them down till you know what the purpose is. If you'd like to learn more, check out the latest video from my new show, Deep Thoughts While Gaming. And click on that orange button to support America Uncovered for as little as $1 a month. It really goes a long way in helping us out. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching America Uncovered.